While we're talking about writing and technique, I had noticed right when we started that we both had, for those of you watching us on YouTube as opposed to listening to us, we both got bookcases behind us. The only book behind me that wasn't written by either myself or a guest on the show is Story by Robert McKee, and I see it right there over your left shoulder. Well, no, I guess it's your right shoulder on that side. When did you come to Story by Robert McKee, and how can we heartily endorse this for everyone listening to us, and how it's going to change their lives?
So first half of your question, kind of to the story of how did I get into this? So I decided to take a stab at my first novel. And the one thing I learned that allowed me to take the stab at the novel was that I just didn't have to get it right on the first try. So I basically just wrote down everything I knew about the characters. And then and kind of maybe put some scenes in. And then I was like, okay, well, like this isn't even really novel shaped. Like it's not even just not a novel. It's not even really novel shaped. It's just stuff. But at least I was like, so the next thing I'm going to do is figure out story structure. Like when you have stuff, how do you make a story? And I was at an SCBWI conference, and I saw Mary Quattlebaum, who's just a wonderful person, a writer, a teacher, and she had taught a friend of mine. I introduced myself, and we were chatting, and she teaches at the Vermont College of Fine Arts program. And I was saying, it seems like a great program. It's not something I'm going to do right now, but I really need to learn about story structure. And she said, well, like the textbook, we recommend is Story by Robert McKee. So I was like, I believe in taking breaks between your drafts so you can come at your work fresh. So I was like, in this break, I'm going to learn story. I'm going to figure out story structure. And I don't want to say I entirely did, but this book went a long way in helping me figure that out. And I think one thing, why everyone at home, why it will change your life, why it was so helpful to me is, at least to me, the most helpful parts, I'm curious if you found this too, was there a lot of movie scenes that he breaks down and kind of analyzes a lot about how, at least my big takeaway is like, in a scene, kind of emotion has to change. Like you have to be going from kind of either here to here or here to here, but there's got to be an emotional shift. And he really analyzes how that happens in scenes of movies that I was familiar with. And that really helped me learn, not just theoretically like, oh, you need 3 acts, or oh, you need this arc, but like how to apply it in a very real sense. And I still, when I'm writing a scene today, will be like, if a scene's not working, I'll think like, what is that shift? Like, what am I going for? What's the movement in this scene that needs to draw the reader in? And often, if the scene's not working, it's because of what Robert McKee identified as, well, it's lacking what Robert McKee identified as necessary, which is that shift from going from one place to another. So I think it's terrific. And I think it also, because of its examples, takes something that I feel like is so amorphous and makes it real. What do you think?
I 100% agree. Not that Mr. McKee needs my endorsement. In fact, the day I felt like a real writer was the day Robert McKee liked a tweet of mine. And I said, well.
Hang it up now.
There I am. I've got a story on audiobook, and I re-listened to it. Almost every book I have re-listened to it right at the start. And usually around January when I'm getting up, all right, what are we doing for the year? What do we got going? Let's listen to McKee. Let's get the wheels turning in my brain. So I can't recommend it enough for all you writers out there watching or listening. Every time I lead a writing workshop, that is one of the primary texts that I draw from. And I try and drill it into people's heads. If you learn nothing else from this workshop, just read this book. If I can't reach you, maybe McKee can, and it will still have been a wise use of your time.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like I, saved a lot of tuition dollars just pouring it all into, studying that book.
There's a lot of great writing guides out there. I wouldn't want to miss out on, I wouldn't want people to miss out on all the other ones. John Gardner's written several. I'm sure other than McKee, what are some of your favorites?
Yeah, I loved Ursula Le Guin, Steering the Craft. She has really practical exercises. She has some on point of view that I've found invaluable in my work, and I still go back in, but she also has just a great way about her. I feel like she's both sort of encouraging but strict, but like she makes the point, like I think it's great to have a critique group, but she also makes the point that like, you know, a couple hundred years ago, people didn't have critique groups, and the way they learned was by reading other books and just studying other books. And I find that I also have mentor texts. And I think in some ways it's, for me, it helped me realize like there's not one right way to do this. You have to do whatever is helping you at the time get the skills you need. But also, I think she does a great job of breaking down things. So she has point of view, but she also has sentence structure. So there are activities like writing a paragraph that's all one sentence, and then writing a paragraph where no sentence is long, I mean, longer than 7 words, right? And like, so what's the difference there? Like, what do you choose to write about? At least, I don't know if she says this. This is what I was thinking, you know, what's the subject matter? What are you doing when you do a, you know, 200-word long, 1-sentence paragraph versus a bunch of short sentences? What's the effect? So it really, they're so practical, but again, the more that you do those things, the easier it is, I think, when you're actually trying to sit down and write a novel because you practice those things. But the other thing is, I just think she's so encouraging that I've like, you know, when my novel didn't sell, for example, and I was feeling bad, I just went back and read that book because it made me happy about writing again and kind of made me excited to get back and reminded me that the reason I was doing it, although it's great if your novel sells, was not to sell the work, but because I actually loved words and I loved stories and I wanted to do that. So, and she has a kind of like McKee, but different because maybe I'm less literary, but I've seen a lot of those movies, whereas I hadn't read all the books that she has excerpted from because she has a lot of classic novels. But she will take, you know, 3 or 4 paragraphs and then break down, like, look how, you know, whether it's for description, whether it's for the passage of time, whether it's, you know, look how they did that in this sentence, or look how they shifted point of view in that paragraph. Like, it's really, again, helpful to see like what actually, you know, are the greats doing with one sentence. So, you know, gives you a chance to try to imitate something like that if you need to do something similar in your own work. So I love that one. But I mean, I've got a bunch more on my shelf too. So The Writer's Journey,
You know,
Magic
Cheryl Klein's book, it's escaping me at the moment.
The Magic Words. Yeah, I've got that there.
Oh, that's a perfect one. Yes. Cheryl Klein is just an absolute treasure of a person with all kinds of wonderful advice. The best way to learn about writing, of course, is to start a podcast, invite authors to come on it and tell you about their writing habits. But if that takes more of your time than you're comfortable with, listen to this show.
I was just saying, just listen to them. Exactly.
And then seek out writing guides. But yeah,